Watching the film back from game one, did anything surprise you? Anything that you didn't see on the field that you took away after watching the film?
I liked the way we played up front on the defensive line. Had a lot of push. Saw it coming from a lot of different areas, a lot of different angles, which was, obviously been a big point of emphasis. Pleased with what we did there. Really both sides of the ball. I mean, there was a lot of clean plays. In a way, we probably played a quite a bit cleaner game than we did a year ago against Rice. But we had a couple of critical errors on both sides that held us back at times. The fun thing is watching it. They're totally correctable. They're totally self-inflicted, and I would expect that they wouldn't, that we would not carry those forward because the amount of good on there is pretty exciting.
Coach, what's the reasoning behind using Raleek Brown on the scout team offense?
That was just our decision today as coaches.
What does he need to do to show you he should be in the rotation a little bit more? I know we didn't see him today.
Yeah, it's competition. Raleek's a really good player. There's a lot of really good players here. The margins are really thin between a lot of these guys. And I would just encourage with him, like I would this entire team, everybody wants to judge you like it's going to be like this the rest of the year after game one, like it's one game. We didn't get judged last year on how the Rice game went. We all need to remember that. And for individual players, for units, for the entire team, there's a lot of good. Lake's done a lot of good. He's going to be a tremendous player. These are the things you go through. I start going down the names of guys that I've had play reps at times on the scout team, and there's quite a few that are big-time trophy winners and NFL players and all that good stuff. So it's everybody's process is different, especially when you're making a position change.
Thoughts on the debut of Singer and Lloyd, and any special messages in this practice?
I thought Singer played pretty well. Made some plays for us. I thought really steady. Lloyd rushed things a little bit in the first half. Was a little bit too impatient. I think a little too excited. Calmed down in the second half, and you got to see a little bit of a glimpse in the second half of the kind of runner we think he can be.
When you work about the corner position?
The what?
Corners?
Corner position, yeah. Obviously, competition is going to still be ongoing. I mean, we were kind of like a lot of really both sides of the ball. There were some individual tremendous plays. Our coverage on the day was typically really good. Guys made some plays. We had a couple of times, obviously, that we didn't, and in corner world that shows up. And there'll still be competition. A lot of bright spots with it. Was pleased with Christian Rollins and him coming in and making a few plays there at the end, and Damani and Sear showed a lot as well. So there's guys are going to keep competing. I feel like we got three good ones that can go out and play, and certainly Jacoby right there, and so we'll keep pushing.
After the game, you were a little animated with the special teams with the officiating. Have you gotten any feedback yet on those two missed calls?
Yes. I mean, I think we're, I think what we challenged was correct, and so I mean, obviously the game was out of hand at that point, but you still competitively don't want to see that. And those special teams are bang deals. We were actually a part of why the rules changed a few years ago. We played Kansas State up on the road and had kind of a wild one, and we actually ended up winning the review after they'd reviewed it and not overturned it, and they put it back in our favor, which was the correct call. Now they look at everything, but there's a lot to look at, and there's a lot of interpretation, but I think it was pretty clear that our job was on.
What do you know about how Elijah Hughes came in the radar, kind of late in the cycle last year, and what's he shown this year?
He's been really good. He's honestly, as a freshman, through camp, really steady, really steady. Kind of popped off the film day one, and just kind of continually getting better, getting more comfortable, getting more confident. I think we planned to use him early in the rotations the other day, and we're not surprised at all by him jumping in there. He made a big impact the very first snap that he came in the game. But he's relentless. He's got a great first step off the ball. He's a strong, powerful build, and he's just going to get better and better.
What did Gino do to earn the start, and what did you see from him?
Just been the most consistent. He's been one of our 5 most consistent players, and so was excited to see him get some work there at guard and also at center. He's been working at both for us and has made himself a really key, valuable member of our offensive line. So there's a lot of competition going on right now, but he's certainly right in that.
We've talked a lot about the offensive line just recently in general. After Saturday, obviously a lot of shifting going on right now. Are you kind of looking to hopefully solidify things a little bit more for this Saturday, or what's kind of the process about that?
It's just we're going to let it play out. We went into the first game with a pretty good idea that we were going to use some pretty heavy rotations on all sides of the ball. I don't know that we'll plan to use that many, but if we're in situations where there's still competitions ongoing or guys have not separated themselves, then we're going to continue to create those opportunities, because when you get on a really good team, guys should not be just fall into jobs because of default. They shouldn't just fall their way into it just because there was nobody else, right? You got to go step up and go take it over. And I think we've got some guys that are primed to do that and look like they're starting to make that move, but they've got to go finish the job.
Let's do one
Did
more.
anyone exceed expectations with the snaps they got Saturday? And maximize their opportunity?
Elijah's one, I think that really stood out. I think Jack Sullivan stood out. Bear made the one big mental mistake on the 3rd and 22, but it was very disruptive. You didn't feel his presence as much in the stat sheet, but then when you turned on the film on Sunday, you could see that presence. I thought Gentry played well. Offensive line, we thought Tarquin had a pretty good game, pretty good first game for us. Obviously, Austin did some really nice things. So yeah, there's a lot more good than bad. And like I said, the evaluation is so unique because you can play 10 different 56 to 28 games, and all 10 of them are going to feel different, and the score is going to be the same. And you go back and see it. And like I said, I think we'll make a big jump, correct a lot of this, and I expect a very excited group, confident group, and one that will go out and play a cleaner game this week.
Thank you, Coach Riley.
All right, thanks everybody.